Next is health information. This first section goes over required immunization for new students. Please go over these guidelines here to see if whether or not you need to submit documentation. Once you've read through it and you need information about how to submit proof of immunization, please contact the Student Health Services Office at UPA Hall. Their email is mentioned right here, but we'll also have their contact page down below. You can also contact them in case you're not sure of whether or not you need to submit immunization records based off of these guidelines here. And as a note, please don't send any kind of health records to the Housing and Residential Education Office. All immunization records should be sent to the Student Health Services Office. Next up, any students who require housing accommodations due to a disability need to request those and be filed with the Disability Accommodations and Support Services Office, also known as DOS. This link here will take you to their page, which goes over various programs that they have, forms that they have, and their contact page. We'll also have this website in the description below. If you do need accommodations, alongside the housing application, you will need to submit an annual application for disability accommodations through DOS. You can find that link through the application here. It'll look a little bit like this. And any new CI students need to submit this disability accommodations application for their housing assignment by a certain timeline. The application here will mention what that timeline is, so that way you can receive priority consideration. We cannot provide any consideration for an accommodation due to a disability without the approval from DOS. So please ensure that you're completely reading through this section to ensure that you have the correct timelines. And if you have any questions, please contact the DOS office when it comes to the disability accommodation application, and contact us if you have any questions about your housing assignment in accordance with your accommodation. Next is the accommodation statement. So please read through this. Once you do so, click this little box off here that says that you've read and understand all of the deadlines and submission requirements, as well as agree to the accommodation statement right here. Next up is medical information that is not disability related, since you would be having those registered with the DOS office as mentioned above. This section is going to be optional and specific to any medical conditions that you wish to disclose to housing, so that way we can be aware of them in case of an emergency while you're in residence. This information, however, does not guarantee that it is accessible during an emergency situation, so please be advised to take all precautions necessary to protect your health in the case of an emergency. So again, this is optional and can have anything to do with the medical condition, so for example, allergies or medications, but again, not for a disability. That would be registered with the DOS office, as we went through a little bit earlier. Lastly is notification and vaccine status for meningitis. So this PDF here is really important for you to read through as a on-campus housing resident. So if you need to, go ahead and save this, but definitely read through it. It goes over what meningitis is, how serious it is, how the bacteria is spread, and some other information. So please read through this. After you've read through it, go ahead and say if whether or not you've received the vaccine. If you're not too sure, we recommend you contact your guardian to see if they have any records, or your health insurance to see if whether or not they have records. Once you do so, please select the box that verifies that you've read and understand the disclosure. And after, you will be signing all of this off with your student ID number, which authenticates the acceptance of all terms and conditions of the license agreement. Once you've entered your student ID and select the I agree button, this action confirms the responsibility to all content of the license as a legal binding agreement. Once you've done all of this, we'll see you in the next page.